A warm welcome to all my dear children. So, we were studying about human health and diseases, chapter 8. So, in the previous class, we have studied about various diseases caused by different agents and the symptoms and the method by which it spreads, all that we have discussed, isn't it? Bacterial diseases, viral diseases, protozoan diseases, fungal diseases, and the diseases caused by worms. So, we were studying in general about all this. Okay, so have you heard about vaccines? So vaccines are the attenuated or weakened organisms itself or their products. Okay, that is able to evoke a kind of immune response in our body. Okay, so when polio vaccine, you would have heard, isn't it? So when polio vaccine is given, actually polio vaccine is what? The weakened form of polio viruses itself. Okay, and that polio vaccine that we take is not able to create or produce the disease. Okay, but it is able to alert our immune system. Okay, so that the immune system produce the antibodies, and in the next time if any polio virus attack our body will be already prepared. Okay, they will suddenly produce a number of antibodies. The antibodies will multiply because already it is there in our body, the antibody produced due to the introduction of vaccines. Okay, so in this way vaccines help to eradicate many diseases like smallpoxes. Okay, then polio, diphtheria, pneumonia, tetanus, all this has been controlled, okay, by the use of vaccines. So I told you one term now. What is that? Immune system. So what do you mean by immune system or immunity? Immunity means the ability of the host to fight the disease causing organisms. That, okay, due to the immune system is called what? Immunity. Understood? So immunity, because see, we are exposed to a number of microorganisms every day, isn't it? In the atmosphere there are many types of microorganisms. Or if anyone visits a hospital, or the doctors and nurses works in the hospital, they are exposed to a number of microorganisms every day. Okay, not only doctor and nurses, everyone. Okay, but especially they are, as they are what, mingling with the patients, I said. Okay, so every time we are not getting disease, isn't it? Why we are not getting disease? Because there is some system that gives that help us to fight the disease causing organisms. Okay, so this system is known as immune system, and the ability that is conferred by the immune system to fight against the microorganism is called what? Immunity. Okay, so immunity can be divided into two types mainly, that is innate immunity and acquired immunity. Okay, so innate immunity means what? Is what? Innate immunity means it's a non-specific type of defense. Okay, non-specific means it is not specific to a particular microorganism. Okay, in general, okay, that is present from the birth of a person is called what? Innate immunity. Okay, so innate immunity, how you will define, is a non-specific type of defense that is present from the time of birth. Okay, so this is how this is achieved by the presence of different barriers to the entry of the foreign agents into the body. So I told the major pathway through which the microorganisms or pathogens enter into our body are what? Various openings of our body. Otherwise, skin is forming a big barrier, okay, which prevent the entry of other organisms. Okay, so what different barriers are there that prevent the entry of foreign agents into our body. Okay, so this is the major part of innate immunity. So let's see one by one. Okay, so the first one is physical barriers. Okay, for example, skin, I told already. That is the major barrier that prevents the entry of the microorganisms. Okay, then next is what? Mucus coating. And I told through skin microorganisms cannot enter into the body. So I told through the openings only the microorganism will enter, isn't it? The respiratory tract, okay, or through contaminated food and water, means through mouth, isn't it? Or through urina genital STDs and all we have studied, isn't it? Like this, through the openings of the body only the microorganism can enter into the body. So in that regions there are mucus coating, okay, of the epithelial lining of respiratory, gastrointestinal and urinogenital tracts. They are actually physical barriers. They are there which prevent the physically they prevent the entry of microorganisms. So that includes skin and the mucus coating of various openings of the body. Is it clear? Then next is physiological barriers, or you can see that the microorganism can enter into the body, I told, only through the openings. And if any cut is there, okay, like tetanus and all you would have heard. So if any cut happens, then through the cut also the microorganism can enter into the body if the skin got cut. Understood? So physical barrier is by the presence of this physical barriers, if the microorganisms are not able to enter into the body, that is called physical barrier. So they include skin, isn't it, and mucus coating. Is it clear? Then second is physiological barriers. So physiological barriers includes acids in the stomach, saliva in the mouth, tears from eyes. Okay, so these have special compounds in them. Okay, saliva and tears, etc. They prevent the microbial growth. Okay, so that is another innate type of immunity. What is it? Physiological barriers. So they include acids in the stomach, then saliva, then tears from eyes, etc. They prevent microbial growth. So that is example for physiological barriers. Then next is cellular barriers. Cellular barriers means some kind of leukocytes. Do you remember WBCs are of different types, isn't it? Leukocytes, monocytes, neutrophils, basophils, eosinophils, like this different types are there. So there are certain cells which are associated with immune system, like leukocytes, WBC, okay. Then polymorphonuclear leukocytes, okay. Then comes the monocytes, then natural killer type of lymphocytes, okay. So then another is in the tissues. In the tissues some cells are there known as macrophages. We have studied animal tissues last year in 9th class and last year also, I think. So in that I have told you macrophages, okay. So macrophages also help in they are part of tissues only, animal tissue. So these cells, macrophages, they are also they can also phagocytose and destroy the microbe. If they find any microbes, what they do, they simply phagocytosis. They do phagocytosis, means they engulf the microorganisms. Understood? So that is the cellular barriers. Okay, cellular barriers. Cellular barriers includes leukocytes. Okay, then polymorphonuclear leukocytes, PMNL, neutrophils. Okay, then monocytes, then natural killer type of lymphocytes. All these are lymphocytes, or they are all WBCs or leukocytes. Okay, then macrophages in the tissue. These are these are cellular barriers. Cells, they just engulf the microorganisms. If they find any microorganism, they simply engulf them. This kind of organisms are this kind of barriers are known as cellular barriers. Okay, so how they give immunity? They simply engulf. Okay, they phagocytose and thereby kill the microorganism. Understood? So these are also non-specific, means not specifically against a particular microorganism, nothing like that. As general, immunity method, okay, they just engulf the microorganism. Okay, then cytokine barriers. So this is very important. That is when a cell affects the cell is affected by virus, that cell produce a protein called what? Interferons. So it was asked once, what are interferons? What are interferons? They are the proteins produced by the cells which are infected by virus. When virus attack a cell, they produce a kind of proteins called interferons, and this interferons protect the other cells from further viral infection. Okay, so they give information to the other cells, and they protect that particular cells from getting infected by the virus. Okay, so they are known as what? Cytokine barriers. So these all are what? Not specific against a particular disease. All this is present as a general protective system. So what are they? They include what? Physical barriers, physiological barriers, cellular barriers, and cytokine barriers. So, I told the innate immunity is not specific, isn't it? It's general barriers. Understood? Generally, the body offers some kind of immunity that is present from the birth itself. Okay, now next is what? Acquired immunity. Acquired immunity means what? During the lifetime, if the immunity is acquired by the a person, that is called what? Acquired immunity. And it is pathogen specific. Means what? That immunity, that is acquired immunity, will be very specific to a particular organism. Okay, so and it is characterized by memory. That is, if our body is getting a disease by the encountering if it encounters a particular pathogen, then our body produces a response, and that is called what? Primary response, and it will be of low intensity. Is it clear? Means the microorganism can easily attack the body if it is not attacked before. If the body is not knowing that particular organism before, or if the organism attacks the body for the first time, then what? The response by the body will be of low intensity. Clear? So there is more chance of what? Getting that particular disease, isn't it? And if that particular pathogen, if it attack the body for the second time, okay, then it is called as the secondary response. Means the response produced by the body to the second or to the subsequent encounter with the same pathogen, it is called what? Secondary response, and it will be more intensified, highly intensified, and that is called anamnestic, okay, response. This was asked, difference between primary response and, okay, anamnestic response. Anamnestic response means what? The response of the body, okay, the immunity response, okay, of the body when the body is encountered with the same microorganism for the next time, or in the subsequent times, then it is called what? Secondary response or anamnestic response. Primary response means when it is affected, if the response produced by the body when it encounters a microorganism for the first time, and the primary response will be mild or of low intensity, and anamnestic response will be of high intensity. Okay, why this is happening? Because already during the first infection the body encountered the microorganism and they produce certain molecules called antibodies. Understood? And and there will be memory cells which can recognize the same microorganism in the next time. Understood? So due to this, what they can they can do intense response if the body is getting attacked by the same microorganism in the next time. Is it clear? So only secondary response is more intensified. Is it clear? So this primary and secondary immune response, are carried with the help of two special lymphocytes. Lymphocytes are what? WBCs, isn't it? And they are present in our blood. What are they? B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. So B lymphocytes, how they give the immunity? They produce some kind of proteins. Okay, some kind of proteins called what? The antibodies. Okay, antibodies. So these antibodies are produced by what? B lymphocytes. But T lymphocytes, they do not produce any antibodies, but they help the B cells to produce the antibodies. Okay. So this primary response and secondary response is due to what? The cells, blood cells called what? Lymphocytes. And they are of two types I told. What are they? B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. Clear? B lymphocytes, how they protect our body? They produce antibodies. And T lymphocytes, how they do? They help the B cells to produce the antibodies. So when you take the structure of an antibody, okay, it's a protein molecule only, and they are having four polypeptide chains. Okay, two smaller chains will be there. Okay, two smaller chains, this two light chains, and two long chains will be there. They are known as heavy chains. Okay, so if this is the structure of an antibody molecule, this you have to practice in your you have to draw in your copy, and you have to practice this can be asked. Okay, draw the diagram of a an antibody molecule. Okay, so it consists of what? Two light chains and two heavy chains. So these are represented by what? H2L2. Okay, and there are a number of kinds of different kinds of antibodies in our body, like what? IgA, IgM, IgE, IgG, like this. There are different kinds of what? Antibodies. Okay, they are concerned with different functions. Okay, so there are number of antibodies in our body. Okay, then this antibodies, as they are found in the blood, okay, they are also known as what? Humoral immune response. Okay, the response conferred by the antibodies are also known as what? Humoral immune response. Okay, so this is what? One kind of acquired immune response. What is that? Antibody mediated. So the acquired immune response is of two types again. What are they? The antibody mediated, that is due to the immunity that is given by the antibody mediated type. Okay, so this is also known as what? Humoral immune system, immune response. Why? Because these are found in the blood. Okay, then another kind is what? Cell mediated immunity. Okay, so cell mediated immunity is concerned, or that is done with the help of T lymphocytes. Humoral immune response is done with the help of what? B lymphocytes. But cell mediated immunity is due to what? The T lymphocytes. Okay, and see, this T lymphocytes are responsible for organ rejections. Okay, or what happened during the organ transplantation? Easily the body will not accept the donor's organs, isn't it? Or if it is from other animals or from other human being, it will not be easily accepted by the body. Why? There will be rejection from the the recipient. Okay, recipient immune system, and this is due to what? The ability of the body, that is especially due to the T lymphocytes, okay, which can differentiate self and non-self. Okay, means which organs are ours and which is the transplanted one. Like this they differentiate, and they think the transplanted organ as the foreign material, and they start producing what or they try to reject it. Understood? So this is also due to what? Cell mediated immune response, and that is given by the T lymphocytes. Is it clear? So I told you there are two types of immunity. What are they? The innate immunity and acquired immunity. Okay, and I told acquired immunity what can be of two types. What are they? Cell mediated and humoral immune response. Okay, humoral immune response is due to what? The B lymphocytes, which produces the antibodies. As the antibodies are found in the blood, it is also known as what? Humoral immune response. Clear? And this is mediated by what? The B lymphocytes. Okay, and there are two lymphocytes, B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. B lymphocytes, how they give immunity? By producing antibodies. And what this one do? The T lymphocyte, they help the B lymphocytes to produce antibodies, and also T lymphocytes mediate what? Cell mediated immunity. Okay, cell mediated immunity is produced by the T lymphocytes. Okay, and this is responsible for the organ rejection. Okay, so what after organ transplantation, they have to take medicine so that they can suppress this immune system. So I hope you have understood this. You learn the diagram of this antibody molecule, and you have to copy it in your draw in your copy. Okay.